Hi and welcome to Vintage Doll Collector. Today I want to share with you a catalog I got recently of ideal toys and dolls from 1973. This isn't their complete product line for that year. This one was printed in England for their UK dealers, although all these toys were available in the US as well. Let's go through it page by page. Inside the front cover it has a table of contents. The first and biggest section of the catalog is games. Top It is a pretty simple marble game. The object is to get your marbles in the highest scoring spots at the top while knocking your opponent's marbles down to a lower spot or out of the game completely. I don't remember either of these games. Battleboard seems to have been a takeoff on Milton Bradley's Battleship game, where you have to try and guess where your opponent's pieces are and eliminate them. Here's the packaging. Payoff is another marble game. In this one, you roll your marbles and try to hit the little targets at the bottom to win the jackpot of even more marbles. It says you're supposed to be 8 feet away, which is kind of a long distance to hit those tiny targets, wouldn't you say? This one seems to be hard to find, so probably wasn't made for very long. A few years later, they resurrected the Payoff name for a completely different game. Here's the box it came in. I noticed the illustration doesn't have the Payoff name on the actual game, just the design. Here's a couple more active games. I remember Toss-A-Cross as being a very popular game. It's basically a giant tic-tac-toe game, or as they call it across the pond, noughts and crosses, and you play it by tossing beanbags at the board to try and flip the squares to X's and O's. Here's Tornado Bowl. The thing the kid is holding in the picture releases a little top, and it spins around and knocks all the pins over, and you try to block it with the gates so your pins don't get knocked over. Apparently only boys were supposed to play this game. Here's some more games. You can tell which ones Ideal was actively promoting with the little "as seen on TV" logos. I remember the TV commercials for Kaboom. The thing the balloon is on is an air pump. You take turns pumping up the balloon and try not to be the one who pops it. I'm sure all the mothers love this one. The box shows the air pump as being a lot more colorful than it actually was. Rebound is similar to the Top It game we saw at the beginning, only this time instead of shooting marbles, you're sliding these little pucks, which are metal balls with a plastic ring around them, and bouncing them off the cushions at the end to try to get them into scoring position on the other side of the board while knocking your opponent's pucks off at the same time. Kind of like curling, only without the brooms. Here's the box. On the next pages we have a couple of target shooting games. With Crossfire, you put a puck like the ones used in Rebound in the center of the board and shoot metal balls at it and try to knock it into your opponent's goal. A lot of these games really look like fun, don't they? With the Scarecrow Target Set, you shoot suction cup darts at the Scarecrow and try to knock his hat off or hit the crows. If you get the target on his coat that says 50, his head falls off to add some extra excitement. This is another one that seems to be hard to find. Here's some more games. Most of the products in the catalog don't give you a specific age range, but these appear to be for younger kids. Rain, Rain, Go Away is a very simple board game where the object is to make it home from school without getting caught in a downpour. Steps and Chutes is like Chutes and Ladders. This version seems to be quite hard to find, so it probably didn't sell too well, but they used the name again in the 80s for a completely different game. Egg Race the board game is just like the real egg races they had in the old days, except instead of carrying an egg on a spoon, in the game you have little plastic people carrying little plastic eggs on little plastic spoons, and you have to get them around the board without dropping their egg. In Don't Dump the Daisy, you try to get all your marbles on the petals of the daisy without tipping it over and knocking them all off. The design of this is so 70s. Quickshoot is another target game. This time 4 players try to shoot their marbles into holes in the center target. If you miss the hole, it bounces off the plastic and back to you, so it was probably quite a noisy game. Now these two specifically say they're for older kids and adults. Matoca, for some reason, doesn't show you the game board or the box, just one of the playing pieces. But I have to wonder if this one was ever even produced, because I couldn't find any examples of it on eBay or Worthopedia or on the Board Game Geek website. Logus is a game where you slide the plastic letter tiles around to form the words and score points. I like the way the players are spelling out the word game on the box. Here are some unusual games. Trap is a strategy game for older kids and adults where you try to surround your opponent's pieces with movable fences. Chess players will probably like this game. It seems to be fairly hard to find. In Top the Top, the object is to stack the tops while they're spinning. This one seems familiar. I might have played this one when I was a kid. No Peekie is a maze where you have to get your marble from one end to the other. The trick is that you do it with the cover on so you can't actually see what you're doing. Now we're getting to the classics section. Mousetrap. My brother and I loved this one. This is one of the all-time most popular games. In fact, Hasbro is still making it. Even the box is cool. Kerplunk is another one we played. You put all the sticks through the holes in the plastic tower, then pile the marbles on top, then take the sticks out one at a time without letting the marbles fall. We're getting toward the end of the game section of the catalog. I remember battling tops too. You launch the spinning tops and watch them knock each other over. Here's the box. Buckaroo is a knockoff of Shopper's The Last Straw game, which came out in the 60s. In that one, you pile stuff on a camel and try not to break his back. In this one, it's a mule, and you load him up with gold prospecting tools until he bucks and they all fall off. I'd like to see this one in action. I wonder if he really kicks that high. Okay, now we're in the doll section. Playing Jane is a 15-inch battery-operated doll who can play games with you. Horseshoes, basketball, and tic-tac-toe. Excuse me, noughts and crosses. And when the batteries die, she's still a cute doll to cuddle. Busy Missy is another battery-operated doll who does housekeeping chores. She can iron, push the carpet sweeper, and use a feather duster. She's 18 inches tall. The Grow Hair dolls were Ideal's most popular dolls at the time. Velvet's little sister is actually named Cinnamon, but I guess they hadn't thought up the name yet. She has red hair. Vevet is Chrissy's cousin. She's 15 inches tall and has purple eyes to match her outfit. Vevet had lots of extra outfits you could buy. Beautiful Crissy and the rest of the Grow Hair dolls work by pressing a button on their belly. This allows you to pull out a long section of hair. To shorten it again, you turn a knob on the doll's back. Chrissy is 17.5 inches tall and has lots of extra outfits too. There were also accessories you could buy. This is Chrissy's hairdryer. I remember my mom having a hairdryer like this one. And here's Chrissy's hairstyling set. It says simulated hairspray. I wonder what was actually in it. Water maybe, or just air? Getting to the end of the doll section now. What's His Face and What's Her Face cloth dolls are along the lines of Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head. You start with a blank face and put on interchangeable features to make different faces. These are very rare. Mattel came out with a doll of the same name in the 80s, but it was a vinyl fashion doll type and you had to draw the face on yourself. The Nature's Window sets were gardening toys. The basic growing set on the right says it uses invisible soil, so it must have been some kind of clear gel medium with fertilizer in it. With the Transplanting and Accessory set on the left, you could keep your plants going longer. They also made a complete set which combined the two. These are very hard to find. The In a Minute Cake Maker was Ideal's answer to Kenner's Easy Bake Oven. It came with everything you needed to make and frost the little cakes. And of course you could buy refill packs too. This is another hard to find toy. I think the Easy Bake Oven was so well established by then that this one probably couldn't get any traction. The Shaker Makers were one of Ideal's biggest product lines. This page shows the 3 basic sets that were offered. You mixed the powder with water, poured it into a mold, and in 5 minutes they were done. When they dried completely, you could paint them. The people had silly expressions. The animals included a cat, dog, and skunk. There was also a set with birds that you could decorate with real feathers. You could buy a refill of the mix, too. They also offered a licensed set of Disney characters in the Shaker Maker line. It included Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse, and Pluto with a fire hydrant. Here's the box. And if you had the basic Shaker Maker set, you could add some extra molds to it. The Power Mites were kid-sized power tools. They weren't very sharp or powerful, but they could cut through balsa wood and styrofoam and other soft materials. This is the Buffer Sander. Here's the circular saw. The jigsaw and all the other tools each came with a carrying case. Here's the drill. There was also a workshop set that included the drill and the jigsaw and several hand tools, along with a cool workbench and materials to make a few projects. Continuing on with the boy toys. The Power Mite table saw and drill press could take it to the next level. You could still only cut the styrofoam, though. Zeroids were a line of battery-operated robots. Too bad the catalog only shows one of them. Like many robot toys, these are very collectible now. The mechanical seaplane had a wind-up mechanism to power the plane across the water. They made this one in different colors and with different graphics over the years, including U.S. Navy and Marine versions. I checked the prices for these on eBay. They all seem to be collectible if they're in working condition. More vehicles for kids young and old. The Boaterific Classic series were cabin cruiser style. They were battery powered. The Outboard series had a sportier look. The catalog points out that they are in new pilfer-proof packaging. The stretchy vehicles were designed for the little ones, and they look pretty cool. They seem to be quite scarce, so it may be that the stretchy part didn't hold up too well. In searching for them online, I also found that Ideal made stretchy dolls, which aren't in the catalog. Next up, we have Donald Duck and the Fixit trucks. The musical pop-up Donald Duck is sort of like a jack-in-the-box. You crank the handle and the music plays, and when you get to a certain point, all of a sudden Donald kind of explodes and all his parts fall off. Then you get to put him back together again. Ideal made Peter Potamus and Magilla Gorilla musical pop-ups too. The Fixit trucks, which were a tow truck, fire truck, and carry-all truck, were designed to be taken apart and put back together again. These were an update of the original Fixit trucks that Ideal came out with in the 50s. Some odds and ends to wrap it up. Baby Bolts was a robot for toddlers designed to develop hand-eye coordination with movable and removable parts. Ideal had an extensive line of inflatable toys over the years. The Bunny Playmates were probably an Easter promotion. It looks like some of them are carrying eggs. Tom and Jerry were popular cartoon characters from Hanna-Barbera. And the Disney Playmates included Mickey Mouse, Pluto, Dumbo, and Donald Duck. It says the average size is 2 feet tall. I hope you enjoyed going through the catalog with me. Do you have any fond memories of playing with these toys? If so, leave me a comment. Thanks for watching and see you next time.